Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus. For this pattern you're going to need some orange bands, skin tone, white, and you can choose the color you'd like for your dress and shoes. I'm going to use blue for my dress and red for the shoes. You can use beads or bands for the eyes, and I'm going to follow what you see here and use a couple of pearl beads. I'll be drawing on the pupils with this black Sharpie when I'm done. And the last thing that you'll want to have is a set of charms that fit a science-based theme. So in this case, I found some dolphins. There are 7 on my original here for a kind of sea science theme. You could also go with shells or with shells and clams. I'm going to do stars on this one for more of a space one. If you have little planetary beads, circular or spherical ones you'd like to use, you can go with that. Yeah, or get creative. You use what you have on hand, okay? So otherwise, we're going to need, oh, and I didn't get that handy, but you'll want scissors to trim the loose curls. And we'll need a hook, a holding hook if you'd like, and your loom in the offset configuration. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to make one of our arms. Take a single skin tone, put it on the end of your hook, wrap 1, 2, 3 times, and pull that onto 2 skin tone bands. And we're going to switch to white. Take 2 white bands. This is for her little cuffs. Put them on the end, slide it over, and replace. And we will have 8 sets of double blue bands. Now, if you want to put your charm on part way, I'll show you how to do that on this. I'll show you how to do that on the first arm, and then you can have it on both arms if you like. So we're gonna do 1 set of double blues, 2, 3. You know what just occurred to me? My stars are going to blend it a little bit, but oh well. 4. I think it's on our next one. We're going to... okay, let's do 1 more. So we have 5 sets of double bands. I remember what I did here. Okay, now you can take your bead. With my dolphins, they fit nicely over 2 bands together. These stars that I have, they aren't gonna fit quite as nicely, but they should be able to go over one of the bands. So let me get my dental floss and I'm gonna thread it on. I'll put my floss through. You can do this with a piece of wire or needle and thread as well. I'll run it through the band, bring it back over and back through. And as I said, if you are able to put this onto 2 bands, that's a good idea. It'll make it a little bit stronger. If it's a tighter hole like this, you'll just want to put it on 1, and then you can place it on the end of your hook. And we're gonna fit it in between that last set. So I'm gonna take these 2 from the first piece, which are closer to the end, and pull them over the band with the star on it. So now the star is sitting right in the middle. And now I can continue, I think it's 2 more times. We might need 3 though. Let's have a look here. Once and twice, and you can also decide if you aren't happy with the length, you can make it a little shorter or longer. We should have 8 in total. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 more time makes 8. Now our other arm is going to be just the same, but I'm going to leave out the star on the other side. If you want to have charms on both sides, by all means, you can repeat what we did there. Otherwise, we're going to go a little bit faster. Single skin tone wrapped 3 times, pulled onto 2 pink bands, sorry, skin tone bands, these are kind of pinky, onto 2 white, and onto 8 sets of double blue. or whatever color it is you're using for your dress. You know, I was just thinking if you wanted to do like a volcano rock themed one, you could give her a red dress and then put little rock like beads on. If you have some rougher looking, more raggedly shaped beads, or beads that look more like little geodes, that'd be cool. If you're lucky enough to have some little, like very small dinosaur beads or charms, that would be cool as well. Or if you didn't want to do stars, but you had little suns and moons, I guess that would be another direction as well. Okay, we have our arms. We're going to do our feet. I'm using my red. If what I'm doing looks too complicated, you can do what you did with the arms for the feet, but I'm going to give her these nice little heels. So for that, we take 2 reds. We're going to wrap it once and twice. Put it onto 2 more reds. Slide it down a little bit. Put a single on the end. Wrap it nice and tight. 1, 2, 3. You could do 4 if you want. Stretch another single red. Twist it. Bring it back onto itself the way you would a ponytail for your hair. Put it on the end, slide it through, replace. And we're gonna take a single red, stretch it, twist it, double it over, slide it through both of those pieces, replace. And I believe from there we're just gonna go onto skin tone bands, and we need 5 sets of 2. So 2 together, put them on the end, slide it through, and repeat. 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, and 5. And you know what I forgot to mention, if you had a very small charm that you wanted to add onto your shoe, you can have like a little star or something on there as well. I decided against it though because the shoes are kind of small. I thought adding a charm would be a little bit too bulky. My second leg, wrap 2 or 3 times, pull onto double bands, replace. Got a single, wrap tight, 1, 2, 3, onto a doubled over single. Take another doubled over single. Slide it through both. No, they don't want to go. Come in. A little bit is caught up on there. There we are. And replace. Nope. One more time. And then we've got our 5 sets of double skin tone bands. So 2 together each time. And the 5th set right here. And after this we can go to the loom for a little while. Okay, so we are going to start at the top with 2 skin tone bands. Come down from the first center peg to the second peg down in the center. I wonder if I can zoom this up more. Not really. Well, okay, skin tone. And then 2 white bands from the second center to the second side. This is for her collar. And we're going to repeat that in the opposite direction, like so. And okay, now you can decide how many charms you want, how closely you want to put them in. I was generally doing about every other peg, so that's what I'm going to do again here. Now I didn't put any in the middle. Again, my charms are larger, so I thought it would kind of squish in too much. I only put them on the side rows. With that in mind, I'm gonna start on the side. I'll show you what that looks like, and then if you want to add some in the middle, you can. So on each of the rows, I came down with double blue bands. from the second to the third pegs. I didn't want to start my charms right at the top because it would kind of squish into the collar area. And then on the next one down, I'm going to put one blue. And onto my second one, I am going to thread on one of the stars. I think I'll use the white one. Now, if you have a charm that has a larger hole or a little loop, you can stick it right onto your hook and then right onto your band. If not, we can thread it on by floss again. Now, if you want to pause and get these all ready, you can do that now too. I'm going to keep rolling here. There, these ones are pretty fast to do. And put that on top of the single band that you placed from that third to fourth peg on the side. Okay, like so. So now you know how to do it. If you want to have those in the middle, you can. If not, then just stay with me. I'm going to put another set of double bands on each of the rows. We'll do this side to side. And then I'm going to put, okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to put 2 under my star, 2 more in the middle. And then on the opposite side, I'm going to come down here, put a single, and put a star onto the next one. It doesn't want to go this time. And you'll see I didn't account for this when I was making the first one because the first one had the dolphins and those were really easy to pop onto my my bands. But these will be a little bit smaller, so that'll be nice too. Okay, I'm going to do another row of blue, I think all the way across here. I'll check my pattern one more time in a minute. Okay, I'm going to do blues all the way across. And on the next one, I'm going to add a star here on the side, which to me is the right. And I'm going to do a blue one, trying to mix up my colors as I go. I'm afraid these blues aren't going to contrast well enough, but I think that's going to be okay. It's all right if it's a little bit darker. I did have some other space-like charms, but they were a little too big and I didn't have the right number of them, so I thought these would be fun to work with. I also thought that it's more likely that those of you watching will have stars or fish or some such thing than the same kinds of other charms that I had there before. Okay, so I put one here between the third and the fourth, and then between the 6th and the 7th, I think that is. And okay, I'm gonna do 2 rows with just double bands, no more stars. So I'll come down twice on each of those rows. If you want to put more charms in, maybe they're smaller, go for it. If you don't want to have as many, that's fine too. You know what, I feel like, oh, you know what, I did put one on this side. Okay, so I'm going to do, this is the 7th peg to the 8th peg. I'm going to put another star there. And we'll do white again. I think I have another 2 to go after this. If you have another way of attaching these or you want to like stitch them in afterwards, that's also cool. I'm doing this as I go. I know they'll be secure and I only have to do this the one time as I'm looping and not come back to add anything after. I'm going to put another set of doubles below there. And I think I want one set here, maybe one set here. So let me put these all on and then I'll show you what we've got in the end. So my next one on the right or the far side, I'm putting another star. And then I guess it'll be the second and third pegs up from the bottom on the side closest to me is where I'll put my last one. And then we'll be done with our charm additions. And we'll just put double bands in the middle and on the side and the other places. Bear with me here, I'll hold this up for you very soon. And you can keep doing this until you get to the bottom of the loom actually. We're almost finished this part of the layout. And then we'll put on some holding bands and some side extensions and we'll be good to loop up the body. I'll tell you, I kind of feel like the face, the head, the hair, that's a little bit easier to do. It doesn't have so many steps as the body required. Because we want to give her dress a little flair, a little shape, and we want to cinch it in at the waist, so that takes those couple of extra steps. But I felt like the effect was worth it. Okay. The last charm, and then I will hold this up for you to see a little bit better how it's laid out. Come on. All right. And last two here. So this is what mine looks like. You can pause it, freeze it, take your time with this. And when you're ready, we will put the legs on. So take two blue bands, put them on the end of your hook, slide the leg pieces over, and transfer those blue bands one side to the far bottom and one side to the close bottom. So it's going to go across the bottom two pegs. And you want to put your hook between and bring that blue over the center bottom peg. You can put the arms on the second pegs down on either side. And you can decide if you want your charm on one side rather than the other. You can arrange it accordingly. I'm going to put my charm on the side closest to me, I think. All right, we'll put our holding bands on next. Now the sixth one down is going to be a doubled over single if you can manage it. So take a single, stretch it, twist it, bring it around, and we're going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring it across. We're doing this so that the waist is a little bit smaller. And on the third pegs from the top, we're going to put a single, bring it around as a triangle holding band. And repeat that on the fourth pegs from the top. And the fifth pegs from the top. And continue this just with singles stretched across loosely over the rest of the rows or sets of pegs. Just a couple more to go here. And last thing we need to make before we loop up the body is some side extensions, and those are going to give some shape to the dress and poof it out a little bit. So for that, we're still on the same color as the rest of our dress. We're going to take a single, wrap it on our hook 1, 2, 3 times, put it onto 9 sets of double blue bands. So 2 bands at a time, put them on, slide it over, another 2, and we'll do this for a total of 9 times. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we want this to flare out from the waist, which is where we put that doubled over holding band. So you're going to take the bands on your hook and put them onto the 6th peg down. That's where your tighter holding band should be. And to keep the chain snug to the body, I'm turning this around so you can see a little bit better. We're going to stretch it down, and from each section of the chain, you're going to take one little piece of band, pull it over the peg, go to the next one, pull it over the next peg, and continue doing this all the way to the bottom. And there should be a couple left when you're done, and that's gonna stick out to the side a little bit. So we actually want that, because that's gonna, this part is gonna stick out right at the bottom. We need to do this on the other side as well. So a single wrapped about 3 times, hold on to 9 sets of double dress colored bands. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and on the other side of the loom, opposite from where we placed the first, we're going to attach this. So transfer from your hook onto the 6th peg from the top, pull and stretch down, and separate out one piece of each link of the chain to bring over your peg, those in between pegs. We got 2 more here. All right, now I'm gonna come to the bottom, and where the legs are, we'll get that bottom center band, and we're going to loop it up forward, bring it onto the peg above, and repeat that. And we're going to go loom upwards until we are at the 2nd peg from the top. There shouldn't be anything in your way as you go up the middle row here. The sides are going to be a little busier though, but it's okay. And I'm going to stop when I get to that 2nd peg from the top. Now on either side, we want to locate the bottom 2 pegs, or sorry, the bottom 2 bands on each of the sets, and those are the ones we're going to be looping through. So put your hook with the open part facing up and away from you into the bands on that peg, push back the top ones, grab the bottom 2 and bring them forward. Push back everything on top and get the bottom 2. And if you followed my example, one of them will have a charm on it, and that's, you're just going to loop it up as normal. Push back your holding band and your side extension band, get your bottom 2. If you're not sure where they are, you can change the angle you're looking at on your loom, or you can use your hook or your finger to pull them to the side so you can see better where they are. That's also helpful if they get sort of tangled up or out of order, out of layer with the ones above. If you feel like you're getting too much tension on your loom, you can start to ease off some of the bands off of the lower pegs that you've already looped up. Now I can't see where my next looping ones are, so I'm going to do that trick I just told you and pull it down and out to the side a little bit, and then we can see it a bit better. And that way I'll make sure I'm getting the right ones. push back that doubled over holding band. It'll be a little tighter on that 6th peg, and carefully wiggle the bands around. We'll continue up until we reach those arms. It's the 2nd peg from the side, or from the top on the side. And then you want to push back, reach inside, and get the bottom 2 white. Bring those up to the middle 2nd peg. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So we only want the bottom 2 bands for each of our sets here. I'm going to wiggle mine loose a little there so you can see it better, and we'll loop up to that top there, or to where the arms are at any rate. If you need to pause, go ahead, and if you're more dexterous with the hook than I am, you can also go ahead, or sorry, if you need more time, you can pause and then catch up. If you're more dexterous, then you can go ahead. That makes more sense. Okay, my loom's getting a little tight, so I'm going to pop some of these lower ones off. They are all secure at this point. It should be safe to do. But I would rather that my loom doesn't come apart. So there we go. That'll ease up some of the tension on it. And we'll keep going. Push back the holding bands every time. Nope. It's just an awkward angle. It's different when I'm on camera because it's almost as if I'm doing this all a little backwards. I'm used to holding this like right on my lap, right in front of me. And yeah, it's a little bit floppier this way. Okay, so I have looped up the middle, I've looped up the side and into that 2nd peg, other side and inwards. Now we're going to reach into that 2nd peg down for the 2 skin tone bands and bring them forward. And while holding on to the bands on that top peg or putting them on a holding hook, you can take the rest of this off of the loom. I wonder how these stars are going to look. I only did the dolphin one. The stars will be nice though. I'm very curious. I'd love it if any of you would be willing to share with me what you're using on yours, if you've got a special kind of charm that you're excited about using on this, or if you want to send me some pictures, show some pictures on Instagram, that would be really cool for me to see. Okay, I'm going to flip this around. You can pop your charms through so they're facing the right way, as best as they will. Depending on the kinds of beads or charms you have, you might have to fiddle with them a little bit. Maybe we'll put this under that band so it's more forward. Okay, so this is going to be my front. And with that in mind, I'd like to switch the direction that the hook is going through. If you want to put another hook through, you can. I'm just going to pinch it for a second here and flip it around. Now this is pretty well the same on both sides, and you can press the beads or charms through to the opposite side if you choose. So don't worry if it isn't where you want it right at first. If you want to do a belt, you can wrap, take a couple colored bands and pull them over the body like so. Totally optional. I don't think she usually wore belts though, so I'm leaving that out, and we're going to go into the hair here. I get my pattern and my picture ready for part 2, and we are doing, okay, I'm just going to switch my hooks because I like this, I like my little one better. Okay, so we're getting the color you want for your hair. In my case, it's going to be orange, bright orange. We're starting with 3 bands. We're going to wrap them on the hook once and twice, and we're going to put that onto 4 orange bands. If it's easier, you can put this on the loom and do it there. slide it, replace it. We're gonna take 4 bands, wrap them on the end of the hook once, and we're gonna slide it so that these are between that other piece. So we want that to go in the middle. I'm lifting this over. It's gonna take a little bit of pushing here, but should get it to where we want it. So it's gonna be nice and thick looking and a little bit messy. And then we're going to take 2 orange bands and slide these all onto 2 orange bands. If you can keep it in order, all the better. Okay, there we go. And this is going to go onto the center top peg. Transfer those on, press it down, adjust it a little bit if you want or need. And we're going to do 2 orange bands down to either side. And 2 down on, or two bands on each of the rows coming down, 1 time each. We'll turn this to the camera just 1 second. If you want our hair to be thicker or puffier, you could go down another time, but I felt like this was thick enough. We're going to switch to skin tone, and I'm coming down 3 times in the middle with the double skin tone bands. If you want your face to be longer, you can do an extra set on each of these rows, but I decided to keep it round and cute. And come down twice with double bands on either side. I've got 1 more to lay out here. And when the face is of the length you're happy with, we're going to take 2 bands from the 4th side to the 5th center and repeat that on the opposite side. Okay, like so. For our holding bands, I'm using skin tone. I'm going to do doubled over singles. I'll place 1 across the 2nd pegs down from the top of the loom. A triangle bound formation. I'm going to skip the peg under that just for the moment and do another doubled over single on the 4th pegs from the top. And on this one I'm going to place my eyes. If you're using bands, you've seen this before, but I'll go through this quickly. To use bands, take a single, wrap it 3 times, another single 3 times. Put it onto a doubled over single skin tone. Stretch it across your 3rd pegs from the top. Get your hook between the eyes, and you're gonna bring 1/2 of it over that 3rd peg down from the top, like so. If you are using beads and your beads have a large hole, you can slide them right onto your hook. Transfer them onto that doubled over single. I'll really quickly demo that for you. So if they do have a larger hole, put your beads right on. Slide it onto your doubled over single, like so. And it will also go from the 3rd peg down to the 3rd peg down. And last case scenario here, if you're like me and you got these very cute but very small beads with very little holes, I'm gonna do the method I used for my charms and floss it on. I like the sound of that. Floss it on. We're gonna floss it. These ones are a little hard to do, so it might take me just a minute here. But they look so nice when they're done, I think. Okay, and I have my doubled over single. If that's too hard, just do a single, but it will be a little bit loose once you put it on. And then I'm going to bring it back over and back through the beads from the opposite direction. This is where it gets tricky, at least for me. Here's 1, We're doing good so far. And can we do it? There's 2. All right, and I'm gonna bring that end out a little bit. We're gonna slide it until it's all the way on. It's gonna be a little bit tight, and transfer it onto the 3rd peg down. So whatever kind of eyes you used, they are all gonna end up in the same place. And they're coming on a doubled over single from the 3rd peg from the top on the one side to the 3rd peg from the top on the other side. And regardless of the kinds of eyes that you used, you want to separate, get your hook between, and pull one part over. Sorry that took a long time to explain in demo, but I wanted to make sure you had some options and we all knew what to do. I think I've got one more piece to pull there. Okay, I'm gonna draw on my pupils at the end. If you want to do them now, though, you can. We can put our body onto the 5th peg down in the middle. Just transfer your neck piece from the hook, and I believe we want our body facing up. That should work just fine. Okay, the last thing before we start looping is we've got, oh shoot, 2 things. I did forget something. Okay, to get these little standing up hairs, what we do is we take our hook under the orange, catch an orange, pull it through, put the other end on. And you're going to put one side over the other and create a slip knot. Pull as tight as you can, and that's going to give us those little flyaway hairs. So I'm going to do 2 on each of those top side ones. I'm doing this at an awkward angle, but otherwise they should be pretty quick to do. Problem is my loom wants to keep moving. I can't anchor it as well as I normally do. You want to get these as tight as you possibly can. It will destroy your bands, but these are going to be cut after anyway. So we'll do this on the opposite side. Hook under, grab the band, grab the other side, pull it over. Yeah, so I'll do 2 of these on each of the side ones and 2 of them on each of the top diagonal side ones. And then we're going to make a really quick hair extension for the side of the face. And then we'll be ready to loop up. And that will be the end of this. We're almost done. You know what, I think maybe I'll just do 1 on the top this time, for the sake of expediency. You can have a lot of these little loose ones if you want, like a lot of these extra hairs, or you don't have to do them at all if you don't like them. It's completely up to you. Okay, so now we've got some of those little extra curls, and I just did a slip knot around the band, so those should be fine. Okay, last thing here for our extensions, we're going to take an orange, wrap it twice on the hook, pull it onto, I believe it's 3 sets of double orange bands. I'll have a look here. 1, 2, and 3. And the part that's on the hook is going to go onto the top center peg. It's going to be a little bit thick here. That's all right. Press it down. And then this little tail part is going to come around onto the second peg from the top. So I'll place it on and then I will hold it up to show you. I just have to hold this a second while I get this in place. Okay, it's a little bit tight. And I'm going to take 1 piece out of the chain above, loop it over, and 1 piece out of this part of the chain, this link, and loop it over. We'll do that on the other side. We are so close to being done here. This is great. Single wrapped twice onto 3 sets of double orange. 1, 2, and 3. The bands that are on the hook are going to go into the top center peg. the bands at the end of the chain. We're going to get our hook inside and pull those onto the, make sure I got all of those. I'm going to pull those onto the second peg from the, you know what, that is the third peg. I thought that sounded a little funny when I was saying it. Come on, there we go. It's the third peg down. First, second, third. And pull one piece out of each link onto the first and second pegs, which are in between, and then we can loop it. If you feel the body and the neck is in the way here, you can stretch it out, you can hold it there, or even bring it onto the peg underneath, like really stretch it, but I don't want my bands to be too stretched out. I'm gonna reach under the piece that has the body, get the next two skin tone bands that I see and bring them to the left. And the next two are going to the right or the far side. I'm trying to loop them back in the order they came from. You can see these are making nice little teardrop shapes. Nothing is going, like nothing is crisscrossing like that. We want nice round shapes. And we're gonna do the last two, which are gonna go up in the middle. Or we'll do them one at a time, so they are not cooperating here. And then on either side, we're gonna be looping up the bottom two bands for each set, just like we did with the body. So push back everything on that fourth peg down, collect the bottom two, loop them up and forward and onto the next peg. Push back the hair extension and the band with your eyes and get your bottom two and bring them forward. It's a little tight there. Push back everything but your bottom two orange and bring those around and over. And from that top side peg, you're reaching for the bottom two orange. They're gonna go back to the middle. And we'll loop up the opposite side. So bottom two skin tone, bring them forward. Push back everything but the bottom two skin tone, bring them forward. Push back and get your bottom two orange. And bottom two orange, they should be coming from the diagonal and going back on the diagonal to center. And we can loop up the rest of the middle now. So from that fourth peg down, catch the bottom two. And loop forward, push back the band with the eyes, loop it forward. Last time. Okay, now at this point, if you're really trying to save bands, you could almost just make a slip knot of sorts with the bands you have. If you want an extra strong secure, you can use two bands. I'm just going to use one here. I'm getting it ready on my left or less dominant hand. And with my right hand, I'm going to take my hook, press it down straight through all of the bands on that top center peg. Kind of wiggle it till I'm sure it's gone through. You can look to see that it has a clear path. Catch your securing orange band. And when you pull it back up, you want to keep the hook pointed away, the open part of the hook pointed away from you. That way it won't catch on the other bands. And when you're done, you can, when you're through, you can put the other side that's on your finger onto the hook. You pull one over the other to create a slip knot. Okay, we are just about done here. Hold on to that, do not lose it. Put it on a C-clip or a holding hook or on your finger, wherever it's going to stay safe. And very carefully, we're going to take everything else off of the loom. We'll do a couple adjustments and then we'll be finished. And yes, I know the bands on my face are really tight. Sorry about that. Just be patient with it. The more you get loose, the easier it is to get the rest off, I think. Last one. Press your eyes to where you need them to be. Now, at this point, you can use a C-clip or you can wrap this over just like a ponytail. Twist and put it over. You can play around with that a little bit. I feel like that's a little too tight on this one now. But as I say, you can play around with it a little bit. I'm going to fiddle with it some more before I put this in the final picture. If, like me, you did just beads for the eyes and you want to draw on a pupil or make any adjustments there, you can do that at this point. And what else do we need to do? If you have scissors, you can pull these little loose curly pieces closer to the front, shift them around a bit, and just give a little nip with the scissors. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna go grab some from the drawer here. Okay, so you can cut it loose, you can cut them shorter. You can use your hook to pull them closer to where you want them to be. So I feel like we can get some of these more towards the front. So just press it through and use your hook as you need. You can get a little more control over where the curls are coming out. As I said, I'm going to tidy this up a little bit more. You can push your charms side to side as you like. I'll lay this down for you to have a look, and I'll get this video up as soon as possible. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know how yours turn out, and I hope you'll check out my other videos. Thanks guys, bye.